Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 10 of the anime series, Rokka no Yuusha, and this was all kinds of balls to the wall. Holy shnikes, you know what I'm saying? If you caught my previous episode discussion video, I was very much perturbed by the end of that episode because Adlet had formulated this whole theory that, basically the fog barrier had been faked long enough for somebody to get inside the temple and, actually legitimately activate it, the 7th and a potential 8th and everything like that, and they're gunning for him, whatever. And that was all systematically broken down and proven false. Basically, if you take Flamey at her word by Flamey in that episode, so that you have this idea of momentum, forward progression, and then it was all backpedaled, And I just felt really strongly dissatisfied by the end of that episode. Come to find this episode, I am gripping the edges of my seat. I am my eyes are, completely wide, mouth agape. I can't believe everything going on in this episode as all hell just breaks loose. You have, very much at the beginning where we left them, Adlet facing off against Flamey and her pulling the gun and being like, I want the truth. What is your thoughts and feelings about me and the scenario and the situation? And he professes his love for her. Now, as I'm listening to and reading what he's saying, I'm like, is this guy completely half-baked? Is he really going to take this risk? Is there truth to this? And there has to be. He's got to be coming from a genuine place because there is a simpatico between them. We've seen that Flamey and Adlet have had, sort of similar paths that they've traveled, even though she has much more directed herself toward giving up on everybody and giving up on believing in people and, as well as herself. Adlet is kind of the antithesis of that, where he's had to be the strongest man in the world. He's had to not give up on that smile in the face of adversity and trials and tribulations. He's had to keep going, and he's kept going. And he prefers to believe in people and be there for people, most notably Flamey, because she has been the one, sort of henpecked until focus shifted back to him, that everyone was distrusting and everything like that. Even to the point of risking his own life to prove her innocence in this episode, but only after she's the chase is on. She's trying to gun him down, and Morta, we finally see this just tremendous power she wields, and I don't think we've even seen just the surface of it. At one point back at the temple, she basically tells this bold-faced lie using this mountain power, this echo of the mountain power, as Chemo calls it, when Hans is like, what the hell is this? And she's sort of radioing using this echo effect to, basically Nashtania and Goldhoff and everything, and Flamey keep, Adlet where he is, try to box him in, we're all going to attack him, we're all going to take him out. And she bold-faced lies, saying that Hans was beaten to a bloody pulp and is just barely alive. And, of course, as she's going to go on the chase herself and sue, she basically tells Chemo, if Hans pulls anything, use your, nasty vomit creature ability thing, to keep him at bay. And she's really just chomping at the bit, really, to do that, because Hans just goes up to Morta at one point, and all of a sudden here's Chemo with these creatures, popping out of her and everything, whatever like that. But to see Morta just full form using her abilities as they finally do get Adlet, boxed in, and he's realizing, I gotta figure something out here. They are after me, And all the while this is going on, because of what Morta has said, and I'm sure the people who are, championing Nashtani being the fake or what have you are going to use this episode as the proof, in the pudding, basically, to say that, yes, she is legitimately the fake. But I have a different take on it. I feel like she, succumbed to a level of rage and madness because she feels like Adlet betrayed her. She believes what Morta has just told them all about what Adlet's done to Hans, and in her own mind, she's succumbing to that whole idea, that sort of Adlet is the guilty party, that he's been lying to her all of this time, and it's kind of cracked her brain a little bit because she puts so much faith and trust in him. I don't know. That's at least the way I took it, but there could be more to it. She could still prove to be the fake, and this could be the proof in the pudding of that. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just a matter of probability, and at least as far as I'm concerned, right now you have all of these different Braves of the Six Flowers, as I've said time and time again, being less than stellar, less than heroic in what they're trying to do, especially Mora and Chemo. And now, to a point, Nashtania, because she feels like she was betrayed. She feels like it's been proven and she can take Mora's word for that. For somebody who's, out wandering the woods trying to find a way to prove Hans was the guilty party because she wants to preserve Adlet's name and everything and prove him innocent, to just suddenly give up on it in that moment is kind of questionable, unless she was, sort of under some kind of influence from Mora's ability. But of course, as I say, they box Adlet in, and he kind of gives up. He basically surrenders, and Flamey has to stop Mora from going and just automatically killing him. And this is where he offers his proof that Flamey was not the one who activated the barrier. By using that spray, I was wondering what exactly that was all going to amount to, and Hans witnessed this, that there was no traces of, fiend kind, if you will, involved in the activation process. And because Flamey is half fiend, she's half-blooded, human and fiend, of course there would be traces, as happens on the bullet that, Adlet talks her into giving him, to show this proof. And Mora just will not budge. She will not back down from her distrust of him to a lethal degree. I mean, it's like she's psycho. And Nashtania is becoming psycho by the end of this episode. I thought it was absolutely tremendous to see Flamey break down. And those walls, the cracks in the walls of her closing everyone off and keeping them at a distance, keeping them at bay and distrusting them and not being, letting herself be vulnerable to someone else. And that all comes crumbling down because of this proof. Adlet going to this nth degree to prove her innocence, even though he's going to have his head chopped off by Mora at any moment. And she's crying, and she's like, I hate you for making me believe in you. But she tries then to save his life. Smoke bomb erupts, and they're on the chase again. And Mora is following behind, and we're seeing her using this, mountain ability where she's got this sort of, it's almost like a pixelation effect of yellow energy that she crunches, giant holes in the ground and everything like that. And with this ability, and she's going to take Adlet apart. I mean, if she catches up. And then they run, of course, headlong into Nashtania and Goldhoff. Goldhoff seems almost like a little lost puppy. Like he doesn't even know what to do at this point as far as, Nashtania losing her mind and going kind of like, mad. And she's just like, as if it's just, picking wallpaper. Hey, Adlet, I'm going to kill you now. Okay? Happy, happy, joy, joy. And it's just, whoa. I mean, the momentum of this episode, every single step of the way, the shock and awe of Flamey turning on Adlet, and then, of course, seeing Mora's power debut, seeing her bold-faced lie about how Hans, what his status is, that he's apparently beaten and bloodied and barely alive because of Adlet, which obviously we know is complete falsity. To be chasing after Adlet and joining in the chase with Flamey, and then Flamey being won over by his move to show her and prove her innocence. It was all just gobsmacking and mind-blowing. Adding insult to injury again, the sort of breakdown, the mental breakdown out of the betrayal Nashtania feels she has been a victim to by Adlet, per Mora's words. Just whoa. That's all I can say by the end of it. And I think we had a different ending theme and animation, more focused on Nashtania. And again, I'm sure a lot of people who are championing her as the fake are going to use this episode as proof to that effect. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, objectively, the evils are well stacked and well matched between Nashtania, Mora, and Chemo. Like, all three of them just seem malevolent as all hell. And I don't know what to make of it. I'm no sort of better at speculating who it could be. I had been thinking, if it were Flamey, it would be that sense of revenge and wanting to take down the demon god and not really being, a chosen brave and just sort of faking it so she could get into this group and go after you know, as she's talking about, like, she doesn't see herself coming out of that battle alive. And we've already had hints of that where she talked about, well, maybe I'll kill my whole team, or everybody, and Chemo even said this as well. Maybe we'll kill all the rest of the Braves and we'll go one-on-one with the demon god. It just astounds me that all of these characters are gunning for Adlet as being the fake, and he is the truest blood among them, the most heroic, the most compassionate, the most honorable. And I've talked about this before through the course of several videos now, where it's just like they all represent the antithesis of what you think of heroes, what a group of heroes should be, at least traditionally speaking. Even if they're at odds, even if they have differences, they still should be coming together for a common cause. And there are shades of that, even in Mortozone talking about this, like she's trying to unite them all under the blanket cause of going after Adlet. But it astounds me. Like, could this be completely the reverse? Could it be completely that, you know, the strongest people, the strongest human beings in the world have been brought together, but to weed out which of them is the most honorable, and won't be fighting amongst themselves and distrusting and, you know, suspicious of each other and everything. And what would be the end result? Would it be something the demon god has put together in order to find a vessel to inhabit, to come into the world? You know, I don't know. It could really, like this episode, as on the edge of my seat as I was, and feeling the momentum and just, you know, the insanity of it. Every single thing that happened in this episode, by the end of it, I'm just completely lost as far as who the fake or fakes could be, you know. But whereas the last episode left me feeling really deflated and just like, oh, I hope the next episode's better than this crap, this episode got me right back into it. I am so dying to see the next episode. I wish I could fast forward a week just to get to it that much sooner, because I'm juiced. I'm juiced on this episode, and I don't know how the hell it's going to play out. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 10 of Rokka no Yusha. If you've seen it, if you thought it was as you know, an incredible whirlwind of an experience to watch as I did. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any speculations, feel free to talk about them, as long as there isn't any spoilery material based on the source material. I absolutely love having the conversations and, you know, picking apart everyone else's point of view as to who you might think could be the fake or fakes, who might be in league, who might not be. Is it characters as yet unseen that are helping manipulate in the background, and so on and so forth. I mean, this episode just really pitched me right back to the top of anticipation and excitement to see what's going to happen next. So, yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.